From the moment the first whispers surfaced, something felt different, something heavier, deeper, and far more intriguing than the usual Hollywood rumor cycle. And tonight, we uncover the untold story behind Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet. A story that began quietly, grew in the shadows, and now stands at the center of global fascination. Before the world knew anything, the signs were already there, hidden between sightings, sudden shifts in behavior, and silence that spoke louder than any public statement. When gossip outlets first hinted at their connection, most dismissed it as another fleeting headline. Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet were simply too unexpected, too opposite, too unlikely to be real. But then the pattern began to change. Kylie appeared in places she usually didn't frequent, moving with unusual discretion. Timothée, known for his candid interactions and public charm, became noticeably reserved. Their paths, once separate, suddenly felt aligned in a way that didn't look accidental. Everything took a sharp turn with one quiet, almost invisible moment. Kylie's SUV seen entering Timothy's Beverly Hills neighborhood late at night. No entourage. No spotlight. No attempt to be seen, only an attempt to stay unseen. That was when Hollywood paused. That was when fans started asking the real questions. Was this just casual? Was it business? Or was something genuinely unfolding between two of the biggest names in entertainment? As the days passed, more subtle clues surfaced. A shift in Kylie's public schedule. Timothée seen leaving events earlier than usual. Sources close to both of them hinting that the two were getting to know each other away from the cameras. And then, everything erupted during a major music event. Thousands of people in the venue, millions online, and yet the world seemed to freeze when Kylie leaned in close to Timothée, laughing in that effortless way that signals comfort, familiarity, connection. Fans replayed the footage over and over, searching for meaning in every glance, every smile, every second of captured chemistry. It wasn't long before the media dug deeper. Suddenly, reports surfaced claiming their first meeting had happened months before anyone suspected, arranged not by chance, but by a trusted mutual friend. A quiet gathering, no press coverage, no social media. Just a small group of people talking, and two particular individuals who seemed to click almost instantly. Then came the talk of secret getaways. Short trips. Unlisted travel logs. The kind of movement only possible for two people who know how to navigate fame with precision. Malibu villas, discreet New York apartments, private estates. Every location different, but the intention always the same: privacy. Moments away from the noise. A chance to exist without the constant interpretation of the public eye. But everything changed when a single photograph shook the internet. Kylie Jenner stepping out of a car, sunlight catching a large, unmistakable diamond on her finger. A ring unlike her usual collection, unique, intimate, almost symbolic. Fans zoomed in. Analysts compared. Jewelers weighed in. And the internet demanded answers. Was it a gift from Timothée? Was the couple already taking a giant step forward behind closed doors? Fashion experts quickly pointed out that the ring did not belong to Kylie's known designers. It wasn't part of a commercial launch. It wasn't tied to a brand partnership. It looked personal. And that's what made the speculation explode. If Kylie was wearing something custom, something with that kind of presence, what did it mean? As the conversation intensified, insiders doubled down. One source claimed Timothée had already been introduced to members of the Kardashian-Jenner inner circle during a private gathering. No cameras. No staff. Just a family known for protecting their own, evaluating the man standing beside one of their most influential members. And according to that source, the meeting went extremely well. Meanwhile, whispers in the film industry hinted at something even more surprising. Timothée was allegedly rearranging parts of his upcoming schedule, pushing certain commitments to create personal space in the coming months. Something he almost never does without significant reason. Fans wondered if this was a sign of something bigger on the horizon. Then, the most explosive rumor appeared. Kylie and Timothee reportedly took a short, extremely private trip to Europe. Not for work. Not for press. But for something personal. The destination, according to insiders, is a known hotspot for major life milestones among high-profile couples. Engagements. Anniversaries. Quiet celebrations that stay off camera. There are no photos. No confirmations. Just a timeline that feels too perfectly aligned to ignore. Now, the world stands at a crossroads of curiosity and anticipation. Is the diamond ring a clue? Was the private trip more than just a getaway? Are Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet moving toward a future that no one predicted, but everyone is now watching closely? Whatever the truth is, one thing is certain: this story is far from over. And every new detail suggests that what began as a whisper may soon become one of Hollywood's biggest revelations. Before we close, share your thoughts. Do you believe Kylie and Timothee are heading toward an engagement, or is this simply a private romance unfolding on their own terms? Stay tuned, because this may be the beginning of a chapter Hollywood never saw coming. As the public continued to analyze every thread of this unfolding story, a new wave of information began to shape the narrative surrounding Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet. It didn't come from paparazzi, or leaked footage, or viral clips. Instead, it surfaced quietly, through industry whispers, insider commentary, and subtle changes in the way both stars carried themselves in public. These small, almost invisible cues became the backbone of a theory that fans could no longer ignore. This wasn't a casual connection. This was a relationship evolving with unusual depth and intention. Observers began noticing how Kylie's public persona shifted ever so slightly. Her posts, though still glamorous, felt more grounded. Her captions less curated. There was softness in the way she presented herself, something people associated with someone who felt emotionally secure. Meanwhile, Timothee appeared more composed and steady, less like the young actor constantly traveling from set to set, and more like a man anchoring himself in something meaningful. Even those who had been skeptical at first started questioning their doubts. Especially when a report emerged that Kylie had attended one of Timothee's private industry screenings, an event known for being extremely selective. The guest list is always tight, consisting only of close friends, collaborators, and individuals who hold a special place in the actor's personal sphere. Kylie's presence there, according to multiple sources, wasn't casual. It was intentional. And then came another turning point: sightings of Timothee at one of Kylie's business meetings in Los Angeles. Not on camera. Not as part of a brand deal. He reportedly sat quietly in the background, simply supporting her. The idea of Hollywood's rising dramatic actor showing up to a beauty mogul's private business discussion added a new layer to the relationship, one that suggested shared respect, curiosity, and investment in each other's worlds. Analysts who follow celebrity patterns quickly noted that this level of cross-world support is extremely rare. High-profile couples often keep their industries separate to avoid scrutiny. But in this case, Kylie and Timothee seemed comfortable breaking that invisible divide, letting their personal and professional lives quietly intertwine. Then, more details emerged regarding Kylie's inner circle. According to a family friend, Kylie had begun opening up about how different this relationship felt. The source explained that Kylie described Timothee as grounding, someone who balances her hectic, high-pressure lifestyle with calmness and sincerity. The insider claimed Kylie admired Timothee's discipline, the way he handles fame with maturity, and how he seems uninterested in the typical Hollywood chaos. And in return, Timothee reportedly praised Kylie's ambition, her ability to run a massive brand empire while still being a devoted mother. These revelations added weight to the speculation that their connection wasn't born from publicity or convenience, but genuine compatibility. Still, the public wanted more evidence. And that evidence arrived unexpectedly during Paris Fashion Week. While the pair did not walk together or pose for photos, their timelines in the city overlapped far too perfectly. Multiple witnesses reported seeing them at the same private dinner, entering separately but clearly aware of each other's presence. A journalist from a European entertainment outlet claimed the two were seated at the same table, speaking quietly throughout the evening, but what truly ignited global conversation was a moment days later, when Timothee was photographed wearing what fans believed to be a subtle piece of jewelry that matched an accessory Kylie had worn earlier that week. It wasn't flashy, and it wasn't designed to draw attention, but it was enough. Enough for the internet to explode with comparisons, theories, and emotional reactions. Meanwhile, sources in Kylie's camp revealed that Stormy and Air have reportedly met Timothee on several low-key occasions. According to one insider, the interactions were warm and natural, with Timothee showing a gentle, patient side that many fans had only ever imagined. While Kylie has always been protective about who enters her children's lives, the fact that Timothee was included in those moments added undeniable gravity to the relationship, and just when the speculation seemed to reach its peak, another rumor surfaced, one that shifted the public's attention back to that mysterious diamond ring. A well-known Beverly Hills jeweler came forward anonymously, claiming he was contacted months earlier for a special commission involving an unnamed A-list client. The jeweler would not confirm the piece was Kylie's, but he did describe it as a custom-designed ring meant to symbolize commitment. The timing, the secrecy, and the description all sent fans into a frenzy. Hollywood insiders then pointed out something even more curious. Despite their rising public interest, both Kylie and Timothee continued to stay unusually silent about the speculation. No denials. No clarifications. No interviews designed to set the record straight. And for two of the most analyzed figures in entertainment to maintain that level of controlled silence meant only one thing: they preferred to keep the truth between them, at least for now, but silence in Hollywood rarely stays silent forever. A source from the film industry claimed that Timothee had spoken briefly about Kylie while on set, not in a dramatic confession, but in passing, describing her as someone who brings out clarity in him. Another reported comment suggested he found her perspective refreshing and admired how she navigates fame with strategy and strength. Meanwhile, a separate source from the beauty industry revealed that Kylie has been glowing differently in recent months, showing up to meetings more energized, more present, and more inspired. Reputation analysts pointed out that this often aligns with emotional stability in a person's private life. Still, the world kept asking the same question: what does the diamond ring mean? Is it simply jewelry, or is it a message waiting for the right moment to be revealed? And then, a new development added fuel to everything. A close friend of Timothee hinted in a private conversation, later leaked to media, that he had been talking seriously about the future. The friend didn't elaborate. But that one sentence was enough to create shockwaves among fans. As things continue to unfold, one reality becomes undeniable: this is not just another Hollywood pairing. It is a multi-layered story of two people from very different worlds finding something rare in each other: connection without performance, intimacy without spectacle, and commitment that grows quietly behind closed doors. And as the world watches, waits, and wonders, the biggest question remains unanswered: how long before Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet finally step into the spotlight together, not as a rumor, not as a possibility, but as a confirmed, undeniable, unstoppable Hollywood power couple, because all signs suggest that moment may be closer than anyone expects. As the narrative surrounding Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet continued to evolve, Hollywood found itself divided between disbelief and anticipation. Their connection had moved far beyond the stage of simple curiosity. By now, it had transformed into a phenomenon, one that experts, analysts, and longtime industry insiders couldn't ignore. The more both stars remained silent, the more the world leaned in, searching for cues in the spaces between their public appearances. Yet what truly deepened the intrigue was the sudden change in how major media outlets began covering the story. Initially, it was treated as celebrity gossip, light, playful, speculative. But as more sources stepped forward and more pieces of the puzzle fell into place, newsrooms started shifting their tone. This was no longer being reported as an odd pairing or a flirtation. It was being framed as the rise of a Hollywood power couple in the making. One entertainment journalist commented anonymously that the atmosphere in the industry felt strangely protective around the two. Publicists who typically rushed to squash rumors or confirm details were noticeably quiet. Producers working with Timothee kept their statements cautious. Sources surrounding Kylie seemed unusually careful with their words. That silence, according to the journalist, was not accidental. It was the kind of silence that indicated people were guarding something important, something real. Meanwhile, new information began circulating from those who had recently interacted with Kylie. A brand executive who met her for a confidential partnership discussion described her as unusually peaceful, almost serene. He explained that while Kylie was always poised and professional, there was something different this time, a sense of emotional steadiness that stood out in the high-tension world of celebrity business. She seemed grounded in a way I hadn't seen before, the executive shared. It felt like she was sure of something in her life. On the other side of the story, Timothee's colleagues noticed changes in him as well. A crew member from one of his film sets mentioned that Timothee had been more reflective, more deliberate in his choices. He reportedly spent more time off his phone, more time reading, and more time engaging in meaningful conversations instead of drifting between distractions. It was subtle, the crew member said, but he seemed settled. Like someone who found clarity. Then came a breakthrough detail reported by a close friend of Kylie's. She had recently shown rare enthusiasm when talking about a personal project. According to the friend, Kylie discussed ideas about expanding her businesses internationally, something she had been considering for years but never committed to. The friend believed Timothee played a role in motivating her to move forward, offering a perspective that pushed her to think bigger and more creatively. But what intensified public fascination even more was a sudden shift in how both families were behaving. The Kardashian-Jenner family, always under scrutiny, became noticeably tighter in their media presence. Posts were more curated. Mentions of personal relationships became scarce. The usual teases or hints that fans expected simply didn't appear. Some analysts believed this was a sign that the family was intentionally protecting Kylie's relationship, possibly at her own request. Around the same time, a source close to Timothee revealed that his family was also aware of the growing seriousness of the romance. His relatives were reportedly supportive, describing Kylie as someone kind, intelligent, and surprisingly down-to-earth. The insider added that while Timothee tends to keep his personal life extremely private, the fact that he had spoken about Kylie at all was meaningful, and just as fans were absorbing this new wave of information, a major leak added fuel to the entire situation. A high-end restaurant in Los Angeles reported an off-menu reservation under initials that matched both Kylie and Timothee. According to someone who claimed to have been working that night, the couple arrived separately but left together. While the restaurant could not officially confirm the encounter, the timing aligned perfectly with gaps in both their public schedules. What stood out most in that alleged sighting was the description of their interaction. According to the source, they shared a quiet table away from the main dining room, speaking softly and smiling throughout the evening. There was no tension. No rush. No attempts to avoid one another. Instead, there was comfort, familiarity, like two people who no longer needed to hide from each other, even if they still kept their distance from the world. But the biggest twist came from the fashion community. A stylist who once worked with Timothee disclosed that he had recently requested a private consultation, not for an event, but for something personal. The stylist offered no specific details, but insiders speculated that the request involved a tailored suit for an occasion not yet announced. Combined with the growing rumors surrounding Kylie's mysterious diamond ring, the speculation spiraled into something larger than ever before. Then, in another unexpected turn, a source close to Kylie hinted that she had been spending more time reflecting on what kind of life she wanted moving forward. The source emphasized that this wasn't about stepping away from the spotlight, but about choosing who she wanted beside her as she built the next chapter of her empire. That comment alone sent social media into a frenzy, with fans dissecting every possible implication. Meanwhile, entertainment analysts began drawing parallels between Kylie and Timothee's relationship and other famous Hollywood romances that started quietly before revealing themselves in a dramatic, unforgettable moment. Some compared them to early-era celebrity couples who kept their love under strict secrecy until the timing felt right to step into the public eye together. Others argued that their silence was strategic, protecting something that neither of them wanted to risk losing to the chaos of fame. Still, even with all the theories, all the sources, and all the speculation, one question hung heavily in the air: were the signs pointing to an engagement, or were fans simply reading too deeply into the details? That uncertainty didn't stop the conversation. In fact, it made the story even more electrifying. The possibility that Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet were moving toward a major announcement became one of the most discussed topics on global entertainment platforms. And then came the most compelling clue yet. A reporter from a prestigious entertainment magazine claimed that someone from a European luxury event planning firm had been approached for a discreet consultation regarding a highly confidential celebration scheduled for the near future. The description was vague, the client unnamed, but the timing aligned suspiciously well with the couple's rumored private trip to Europe. Whether coincidence or intentional secrecy, the world could not decide, but one thing had become undeniably clear: every new revelation, every small clue, every shift in behavior pointed to a relationship that was not only serious, but potentially life-changing for both Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet. And now, fans everywhere are waiting, watching, and preparing for the moment when the truth finally breaks through the silence.